Welcome back to Inverness Nights. This video is gonna end a little abruptly. You'll see when we get there, just wanted to say that ahead of time. But trust me, there's still plenty of game to cover after this. Also, the audio might sound a little different, hopefully a little better. I haven't done anything too crazy to my setup, just trying to make sure that the faint humming of my laptop isn't being picked up by my microphone. Anyway, let's continue on. Sorry for my outburst yesterday. The sleeves look superb. Yes. One free chair in the room. She takes it, skirts filling the excess space between the arms. Her eyes are waxy again. I'm ready to give some answers. The bodice falls from my grasp to the desk. The needle ticks against the wood as it rolls from its corresponding stitches. Sinbad mentioned others. I'm here on their behalf. No better options? I volunteered. They must have realized that it'd be a hard sell for someone of your sort. Which sort? Hard for me as a woman? That's a good point. As a foreigner, that'd be an issue for anyone. You're the only immortal from Scotland. Berbers, Azerbaijanis, Persians. Plenty of options. None we could predict a Jacobite sympathizer agreeing to talk to. I have no opinion on most of those states. We didn't know that, and I was the most interested. Why? Time may tell. Secrecy shouldn't be necessary. The cards held close to my chest have been played. The cards held close to hers have, I assume, been shoved down her stays. I should have told Alasdair more. The stalemate is impossibly frustrating. I lift the bodice in one hand and the errant needle in the other. Maneuver through the thread, tie it around, knot it, bite it free. Try it on? I haven't altered the fit. This is just for the decorations. My plan is to swap that orange trim, finish the beadwork, and add extra embroidery to the bodice. And that'll be the end of it. I suppose so. I'd wager 3 more days. That may sound like a large estimate, but embroidery takes a while. Good. Leeway for my story. We're half through. We are indeed. I'm ready to share the next installment. Continue then. Right. Onward in the same fashion. It was hard to find ruptures in the clouds. The trio made shore on a small island near Athens. They nudged the front of the boat onto sand. Sinbad splashed down, went around, and pushed it further forward. Once the prow was firmly lodged, he came to stand beside it. Taking hold of Mariana's forearm, Fury helped her step to Sinbad. There was an uncommon calm in his movements. Sinbad caught Mariana by the waist and lowered her. This work done, he walked up to the tree line, his stare level with a selection of dry palms. Fury was last off the boat. We'll be looking for a hiding place for the silk. He dropped a basket of food at Mariana's feet, then a piece of flint, a set of blankets, and a slightly smudged, partly outdated map. Mariana bent to count their supplies, evaluate the purpose of the blankets, and wonder what time or place he'd acquired the map from. Just behind the pile, she spotted it. Splits in a leg of Fury's trousers. The front had burst, the back was dark with grime and wear. What's this? Her voice lowered. Should have taken them up. Not the worst I've done, he said with a shrug, and tried to walk away. Where was Sinbad with dry wood? Mangled that sentence a little bit, it's fine. A hand on his cuff pulled him back. I'm going to fix it. What, like a patch? She pursed her lips and swept her eyes over the boat. I had other ideas. Should I go along with them? If you want to live up to your adventurous reputation. Sinbad tell you about that? Mariana nodded. Fury mimicked her with an added smile. They moved toward the boat. Using Fury's knee as a step, Mariana clambered onto the deck. Clunking bolts and rattling supplies. Moments passed. She tipped 2 types of fabric overboard and disappeared. further clattering. Sweeping into view, she swung her legs over and dropped to the sand. Her hands spilled their contents at the jolt of landing. Slippers, a modest box of sewing supplies, a loud patch of beads. Fury picked up a slipper. Dusting it clean with archaeological caution, he turned it around and over. The toe curled to a point, and a star was embroidered in the center of the upper, all teal and purple. Wasn't this about my trousers? They'll match better than your current pair. You know these are his. She looked to the trees. I doubt he'd fuss. His gaze... let me try that again. His gaze following hers, Fury's eyebrows rippled through skepticism, concern, acceptance. Yeah, as long as we don't break them. A timely figure in red appeared and waved from the forest. The sound of dry leaves and colliding branches echoed over the sand. Fury waved to the tree line. Better check if it'll burn. Do you have spare clothes I can reference? Cabin, unless you want these. I can climb. Suit yourself. He wandered up the beach, leaving Mariana to ponder the sharp angles and harsh dimensions of men and their trousers. The remaining daylight had been extinguished and replaced with a campfire. Fury and Sinbad returned from a third trip through the thicket and caves, where they had hid the excess fabric for fear of vengeful brigands. Mariana was a backlit monolith. In her arms, a straight-cut pair of trousers with matching shirts, a silk belt, and a diamond buckle from their Constantinople pickpocketing venture. 7, 8 hours to do this? Fury grew wide-eyed and open-mouthed. It's largely dyed and altered. Are those my shoes? Sinbad chimed. Weren't on your feet, so we figured... Fury. Whatever Sinbad's reply was going to be, Fury gestured it silent. He sauntered close to Mariana and massed the clothes. Let's have a try. Being a man of little shame and less decorum, he stripped without delay. Tearing and retying, there was a sense he intended to beat his prior speed record for garment destruction. All in place and undamaged, he spun in a showcase for his companions. How's it looking? Neither replied. That's good then. The fire was extinguished. The weather recited scales, readying its highest wail. None could miss the wind's performance. Fury found his eyelids flickering against his will. Unease staggered through him, pulling his muscles and clenching his joints. Open, shut, open, shut. A wave made a percussive crash. His feet clapped onto the sand, and he stood. The reward for his ovation, a quick glimpse of the next act. Deep in the horizon, lightning haloed a ship. Brigands. Sinbad! Mariana! He barked, heading for the boat. Sinbad snapped awake into fury. Mariana gathered the supplies from the beach, saved the remainder of the bread and an empty container of wine, then threw them overarm into the cog. She hoisted herself onto the deck. The men stood to the front of the hull and pushed, growled, pushed the boat until it eased into the water. They swung themselves aboard and took oars with Mariana. We'd be safer on shore, Mariana said. Where they can round us up and bleed us into the ground? No, we'll outrun them. Fury flexed his arms in and out, slapping the waves with his oar. Sinbad, time for the sail. Right. The maw of the night salivated. It spat and gnashed its lightning closer. The eye of the storm, the moon in a tiny hole, was full, bright, attentive, waiting. A foreboding conclusion. I knot the finished thread and tug to ensure it won't come loose. Exciting too, I remain invested. We're sound craftspeople, the both of us. Someone's being immodest. Your money's overfeeding my ego. From her chair, she surveys the newly completed stitchwork. Her eyes dim. She laces her fingers, crosses her legs, uncrosses again, crosses the other way, rolls her shoulders forward, pushing her breasts together. Bites her lip, gathering the skin. Delicate craftsmanship. Perfect for me. If you can't feign enthusiasm, don't make conversation that needs it.
I might head off.
Who am I to stop her? She sweeps to the door. Why this story?
Passes the time.
Nothing more?
It's something to aspire to.
Out the door, clicking the stairs. I return to my work. No use worrying over her moods when she has such an abundance of them. More than I could ever understand. A shame, though, to see her sad. She arrives in spirits no higher than the day before. Lower, perhaps. Her posture is uncanny. Shoulders and elbows stiff and hunched. Spine and wrists limp. The scrutiny is mutual. Excuse me. Have I committed another... Let me try that again. Have I committed another crime?
No, it's me. I lost my nerve.
What did you need nerve for?
To fix my problems.
It's a risk, but she's finding it hard to argue today. Gradually, along a broad arc, I bring my hand to her shoulder. This morning there's no rejection. As I rub her upper arm in conciliatory fashion, we remain silent. Some seconds later, we part. A therapist you are not. Nerves might be inactive a while, but they never disappear. You'll find your courage.
Before I head south?
It's needed at Inverness, then. Perhaps in tandem with your new costume. Wooing someone?
Not quite.
Suppose I couldn't reliably advise if you were.
Triss?
Yes?
What made you want to help your partner? You've mentioned the trouble he's caused, but if that's the sum of you together, why keep the relationship?
There's a question I haven't asked in a while. Momentum?
That's it?
Has anyone made a habit of courting you? Come by so frequently, saying no would feel wrong?
You're seeing him because you can't be bothered rejecting him.
Not quite.
I didn't think so. You don't save someone's life because letting them die is an annoyance. What made you want him around?
4 years of small moments. The kind you can't explain out of sequence. Good days, dimming into bad nights, brightening into mornings that'd make up for them. A while ago, I used most of my earnings to import a bolt of lampas from Champagne. The supplier included a bottle from their vineyard as a gift. Before I could use it, the wine became popular on its own, and the resale value soared too high to waste. Alice came by with his initial commission, spotted the bottle, and looked fit to faint. Runart, Master Rose, and that vintage.
And then?
We drank together. His son died. There's no guide to moving past that, so he relied on me to keep him into the future.
You like feeling useful.
There's 800 years experience in my head. Too much not to share.
Does he do anything else?
Wine tasting isn't much of a hobby, is it? But what else is there? Plants. He loves plants. There's an incredible garden at his old house. No dirt allowed in his apartments, so his attention shifted to bouquets. I've always suspected he picked my services for my surname. Her attention out the window, Shell nods.
Someone who'll listen, who's impressed by wealth, who's got pretty interests. Good to know.
What appeals to me won't appeal to others.
Honestly, I'm not wooing anyone. Just wanted a reassurance that if my trip goes askew, it's on their preference, not my personality.
Eyes clear and smile prying apart the corners of her mouth, she's at least feigning a happier disposition than when she walked in. Wibbly, wobbly, tangled hands happiness.
May I continue the story? It's an important scene today.
I take out my thimble and my thinnest needle, then uncover my jar of beads. Be my guest. The deck rumbled with anxious energy. The storm compacted around them. Each held their ground. Sinbad the sails, Fury the tiller, Mariana an oar. Maneuverability, that would sever the chase. Snapwit speed and arrowhead turns. A small ship with sharp crew versus a dense giant. Every flicker of lightning carried the silhouette closer, detailed the threat more finely. Overbearing scale. Plentiful personage. The wrong figure on the prow. A man of sharp and slender angles posed at the fore. There was a sword sheathed at his hip, held diagonal to the trio to ensure they knew it. When a predator opens its jaws in anticipation, is it smiling? Mariana's paddling turned to a desperate slapping of wood against water.
Technique!
Fury yelled.
We need to distract them.
Sinbad managed to shout.
With what?
Fury's hands slipped from the tiller to wave an exasperated gesture. The stare Sinbad replied with, hanging from a taut line, was so stern it seemed to suspend the storm. Then, the moment released, he unwound the rope from his forearm and hit the deck. The thunder cracked. The Byzantines came ever closer.
If we take Thessaloniki as evidence, I'm excellent at slowing ships.
Sinbad slipped across the deck to Fury's side. A wave crashed over them. Sinbad's face dripped, and his hair draped over his eyes.
It's better than the alternative.
You're not going over...
Odds are 1 against 8.
He patted Fury's shoulder.
You taught me chance. Let me take one.
No!
Look out for your neck. You're so brave, Fury. Keep being brave.
And Sinbad dove into the crest of an oncoming wave. The boat was buffeted, thrashing Fury back from his post. Fighting for footing and hunting for a glimpse, he looked for a black head of hair, a red coat, a ripple of golden beads. A warm body swam toward the other vessel. It wasn't worth watching further, not while the Byzantines were still so close. Back into it, Mariana! The pair rode with new violence, smashing through the natural dangers mounting around them. Diamond crests were crushed to foam, steely surfaces cut to water. A crimson figure mounted the deck of the other vessel, the opening to a shadow play interpretation of events. He took an oarsman, threw him aside, knocked the paddle from another man, kicked someone's sternum, compacted it on their unsuitably soft arteries and their hollow lungs, punched someone's nasal cartilage, another hazardously frail feature. Darkness. Flash! Aquila drew his sword and marched to the interloper. Darkness. Flash! Aquila lifted his arm to strike. Sinbad glanced over his shoulder. Darkness. He wasn't terribly essential. I should have foreseen. There's a beat at the door.
Who?
It'll be him. Ba-dump, ba-dump. Across the floor, at the door. I set my feet firm, parallel. The doorknob winds around in my grip as the narrator meets the microphone to take a drink. She doesn't edit around that because it's fine, actually. I shunt it open. It doesn't hit him, despite him standing far too close for his own good. His expression is soft as he regards me.
Triss?
Alasdair. His view shifts from my height, focus slipping to the background, the figure behind me.
I was going to ask for help.
With your leg?
I'm not needed.
He tries to leave, but Shell creeps beside me and takes his wrist.
You deserve his attention.
Do I? They hold in tableau.
Do I, Triss?
He snaps around and latches a hand to Shell's shoulder. Unhand my client.
I asked you a question.
Release her.
Why won't you answer anything? I pitied the fact you stayed inside every day, didn't go out for food, didn't meet people unless you'd get paid. But you don't know how to talk, do you? Maybe you're magic, whatever else you're claiming, but you live here in Inverness with the rest of us, and we're all human, and we should be noticed!
His thumb stamps through her tan skin, leaving a mark below Shell's necklace without drawing blood. Her eyes are wide, but she doesn't wince or struggle, already enervated by the exchange. Let go, and we'll sort this.
Answer my question!
Be calm.
Do you care about me?
Not if you continue this embarrassment. Clenching tighter, thumb pressing deeper.
Fine.
His muscles go loose.
Fine!
Palm flattened across the front of her shoulder. He shoves and topples her sideways into my desk. Stronger than he was, with greater force than he could imagine. Shell is scattered on the floor, an arm twisted toward the dress form, a leg splayed near the armchair, each limb loose as an unoccupied suit. Her neck bends the farthest, wrenched a quarter rotation past human range. Alice is frozen. I move to my knees, take a hand in mine. Cold. It was always cold. Still. It wasn't always still. A trio beats behind me. 1, 2, Kane. Alice making for the door. I'm on my feet and snatching his arm. No opportunity to grip the cane tighter. Wrench it from him and hurl it to the corner. Lift him by the wrist. Toss him over the desk. Take an elbow to his stomach and claw fingertips in his bad knee. No running. Not after this. Still. Scattered. Cold. We're going to the law. Nails go into his stockings. Chisels before the hammer. That's what you deserve. With every appropriate muscle, I drive them through. Hooked over my left shoulder, Alice doesn't struggle. Stiffer than the figure on my right, save his breathing. Ever a crowd on this street, stuffed with shops and small talk. They stare. Our work might freeze the world. A man in uniform steps from the stoop of the Justice Building, doubtless drawn by the artful new statues out his windows. He notices Shell and pauses to match. Who did this? Every intrusive thought pounding at the door, the walls, the windows. He's a murderer. I've had my bar brawls, my sword through stomachs. He planned the same for me. Surely, those plans changed. He arrived at my house with a smile. He wanted to quit this world anyway. Control. He was after control of his finances, his relationships, his home, his life. I can't condemn him. Speak. Or forever hold your peace. Easily done. With a violent shake, Alice falls from his perch on my shoulder and onto the paving. Cane missing, knee in a worse state. He remains low. Hold your peace, Alice. An accident. She was an accident. She should never have intruded. What will I do? What have I done? Hold your godforsaken peace, Alasdair.
I did. I killed her.
The dress goes into a cupboard. Sleeves tatter as I shuffle the fabric into place, threads squirming the gaps between the shelf and the sides. Shell specified no loose ends. What a mess. Tidying takes me through the afternoon. Just past sundown, a series of knocks come in quick succession. Knuckle contact, no back-of-hand heaviness, dulled by fabric, feminine. Despite her aversion to touch, she never wore gloves. Hoping is pointless. Evening, Master Rose. He had a name, didn't he? And to you, Officer Faulkner. Stepping further inside, he nods. Recovered from our earlier meeting? He and I were... Indict yourself. Old friends. Healing will be a process. Curious what camaraderie endures. She was a friend too. It was an accident. Several vertebrae nigh disintegrated. Accidental, perhaps, but a criminal wound to inflict. Murder, specifically, with the usual punishment. The infection would have been a kinder end for him. It was a mistake. Why turn him in, then? Ah, unless turning him in was the mistaken question. No, you picked the correct path. We weren't peaceable, but we were close. Should you wish to attend, the execution plays the day after tomorrow on Bridge Street, mid-morning. Delicate as he entered, he retreats. Au revoir. An easy goodbye. A closed door. Alone. Again. No one is alone. Or, to steal a phrase, no man is an island. Any man's death, it diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind. But you don't read English work, do you? You don't heed the clergy. You won't aid your own. The people hold up like you, waiting for an escape. You have long arms, Tristram Rose. Extend them and you might outreach death. Some of us, small, insubstantial people, would give anything for them. Give, never take. I've taken from too many. She was to be the last. She isn't anymore. Relying on you for help is a worse prospect than continuing my usual practice. Whichever room you're in, I'm outside. Whichever thoughts you turn, I'm the key winding them. Whichever laws you break, I'm the fire coming to judge you. There's no running. Ugh! That vinegar smell. The worst dreams are the uninspired kind. Homes invaded, guilty thoughts spoken, figures in the dark. Another smell. Rust from next door. An untenanted apartment. Dead mice in our adjoining walls, or metal furniture left to waste. I need bread, and rose water, and I need a lock. Something underfoot. Did Faulkner lose a trinket from that over-embellished uniform? Thin as paper, an easy hold between two fingertips. Slicker. Where's a light? What have I found? The sun catches the object in its muted beams. The human fingernail, ripped full from its bed. 10 more shops than was necessary. Then the tavern, briefly. Condolences, the barman said. For Alasdair, the old one. Presumed dead, if only. Because there is a thought, lubricated by whiskey and sliding free through the chambers of my mind, that I could, should, would never. No shops to distract me, no passerby or their like. Sleep? Was only trying. Trying and failing, with the moon shining too bright and the walls groaning too loud. I have perhaps 10 hours. If I could sleep, I could skip the lot of them. Sleep, as it turns out, is for better people. Collecting a set of knitting needles from my chest of drawers, along with a fair isle piece strung to them, I shuffle atop my covers. Which drawer did I end on? The moon aids in something, at least. I'm poor enough at this pattern that any low-light mistakes will be par for the course. Needles scrape against each other. Wool sticks under my nails. The scarf creeps longer. Scrape. Nails. Creep. Last night, I had to be dreaming it. I wasn't dreaming it. I found proof. But who? But why? But will they... Evening, Master Rose. Rivian. The recluse finds his way outside. How is your shopping? How are your drinks? I clench the needles tight in a single fist. The voice is behind in the empty apartment. Does the perfume smell nice? The clerk said ambergris. A fair fixative, but alone, not a thing to be rubbing on skin. You'll reek of black death. They exhale and thud to the floor, deflated. Scotch, however, I'm told Scotch is pleasant. Oak and honey, earthy and sweet. A new voice eases in from the street, higher than the first. Each word is projected clean and sharp as a speech before a battle. Smell, taste, touch, they're almost beyond me. I can hear, see everything. I find the scary thing about being watched isn't people seeing what you do, it's people seeing what you don't do. Someone falls into the mud. Someone climbs the stairs. My grip bends the needles at their middle and pestles them together, rubbing nickel into my skin. Why don't you save him, Triss? This voice. Familiar. You can't sleep. You know you belong somewhere else. Do you know why you're not? Or are you refusing to admit you're a coward? Like him. Like me. Leave the bed. Perhaps the three of us deserve this. Toward the workshop. If we don't... At the threshold. Open this door. I stop. I have to leave. I can't leave this room until it's over. If I stay in bed and pretend to rest, the creature won't be able to judge. Do people make decisions in their sleep? What have I done? What haven't I done? How long until Faulkner's done? Midday. Folk filtering along Church Street, eyes low, even though they watched. It's watching. It's always watching. It's gone. She's gone. I'm gone from my mind. To think she was always cold, always detached from herself and her actions. I might be sane yet. Can anyone escape their ghosts? By this sunlight, I'd call it 4. Any longer, night falls. The siege continues. Check the next room. Empty. Take the case from beside my cupboard. Supplies. Take the purse from atop my desk. Funds. Take stock. Any forgotten necessities? Submerge in the details. Drown out the voice. Hauled up by a knock. My heartbeat, my breathing, and the hairs on the back of my neck are raised as high as possible. We're past night and fearing the shadows. We're past morning and fearing the spectacle. It oughtn't be anyone committed to anyone's demise. I've faced death in 100 red fields. I can confront it at my front door. No one on the landing. I take the wall of the staircase, paneling guiding my descent in lieu of a banister. My hand judders along the woodwork. Why wouldn't they come inside? The climb is so easy, the weight so hard. There's not a soul alive who'd prefer my help to walking alone. I've made sure of that.
How prompt.